You're watching Swipe, coming up on this week's show.
What are young people looking at online? Angela finds out how parents can keep track. The Drone Racing League Championship is coming to London next year. I chat to one of the world's top pilots. And a famous favourite gets an upgrade in this week's Games Review.
Hello, welcome to Swipe. We're at an event looking ahead to next season's Drone Racing League Championship, which is coming to London. More from here in a moment, but we're going to check in with Angela first. She's been looking into the secret cyber lives of some young people with some worrying findings.
Nearly half of 10-year-olds say they have the skills to hide what they're doing online from their parents. That's according to a recent survey carried out by a London-based security firm. And teenagers are even more savvy to the ways of hiding things on social media. For example, heard of Finstagram? It stands for Fake Instagram, a secondary account set up on the social platform to keep content under wraps.
Finstagram is just an example of the way children want to put some space between them and their parents. It's not really cool to have your parents looking over your shoulder, so to speak. So I think children, like children of any era, want to actually evade the prying eyes of their parents. And this is just an example of them doing it in the digital age. And so they're laying a sort of trail of false breadcrumbs for their parents to follow, so they're free to do what they want to do online.
However tech-savvy teens and children may be, the dangers are still not fully understood. Douglas and Estelle Lloyd co-founded an online safety app to help children learn how to be safe on the internet. They were inspired when one of their daughters accidentally came across inappropriate content while searching for one of her favourite nursery rhymes.
Some parents want or can invest time to actually edit content and really look at everything that children are doing online and guide them and sit next to them. Parents are busy, so it's actually quite difficult and quite time-consuming to do this. The internet was built for adults. It's not really a safe place for children. I think everybody recognizes that. So we wanted to create a place somewhere which is safe and curated.
It does address that primary school age group, because the problem you're talking about tends to take place, in our experience, once a child gets their first phone. Statistically, that's around the 10-11 age. So we're addressing that pre-market and giving them those nice lessons, skills, ways to behave, which hopefully they will then take on board.
Curated platforms are just one way of monitoring activity, but for all parents the best thing to preach is caution, whilst overcoming the challenge of keeping track. Angela Barnes, Sky News.
Stay with us. Still to come, I'll be getting a show and tell from a professional drone pilot said to be one of the world's most talented. That's coming right up after a roundup of this week's tech news.
Nintendo has denied rumours that it's ending production of its Wii U console. It launched back in November 2012, but sales have since steadily declined. The company has a new console in the pipeline, Nintendo Switch, and it's due to go on sale early next year. YouTube has resolved a long-running dispute that prevented many of its clips being accessible in Germany. The Google-owned video service had been at odds with a German rights body representing musicians since 2009. Payments will now be made, but neither side has disclosed the terms. A group of 60 students from Cal Poly University in California are aiming to build the world's fastest solar car. The vehicle would be powered by 2 kilowatts of electricity, about equal to a hairdryer, and will propel to speeds up to and past 65 miles per hour. The team hope it'll be ready to go by next summer. And this palm-sized robot from San Francisco-based firm Anki has just launched in the US. Cosmos artificial intelligence is based on feelings programmed into its digital brain. It's also equipped with computer vision, which allows it to recognize who it's playing with. Stick around for our games review. We're on a quest to battle robotic sky pirates and staying in the air.
If you haven't heard about the Drone Racing League, It's a bit like football's Premier League, but for drones. The current season has been airing on Sky, and next season's final will be staged in London. Pilots will be competing to meet crowned the best in the world. And earlier on, I got to meet one of the professional pilots. He only started flying 18 months ago. XYFPV. That's not your real name, is it?
It's not my real name, it's my pilot's call sign.
Well, talk to me about the racing. Look, we can see it on the screen there. This is what you do. This is your full-time job, isn't it?
Currently it is, yes. We race the DRL Racer 2.
This is it. And do all the pilots who compete have this same drone?
Yes, we all fly the same drone, same setup, same settings. It has 4 propellers, 4 motors.
How fast does it go?
60 miles an hour, up to 60 miles.
And
80 miles.
these 2 cameras here?
Yes, one camera for HD recording, and this one records the FPV feed, the first-person view feed, and it transmits it over the antenna through this goggle. You might want to have a try.
This is the first-person view?
Exactly.
And this is what you wear when you're racing,
yes,
so that you can see where you're going?
Yes.
Woo! What are we looking at right now?
This is the championship course. It's the last race of the season in Detroit.
How do you practice for this sport? What's your training regime?
Well, I try to put myself in new spaces every time, so I learn to adapt to new courses very fast. So I go to parking garage, abandoned buildings, or parks.
What, you just find like difficult areas and try and fly around them really fast?
Exactly. You might want to have a try yourself at the thrust stand.
Have a try at the what?
At the thrust stand.
The thrust stand?
Exactly.
I've never flown a racing drone before.
This is the throttle.
That is powerful. It's noisy, really noisy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It has 4 controls. This is the throttle and also the yaw axis.
Am I quite good?
Yeah. I can see you have a feeling for it.
She's really good. When do you show us
Well, this is only for showing the power. It won't take off because it's locked, but you can see how powerful it is.
So you're going to be traveling around the world doing this?
Yes, exactly.
What kind of money do you earn?
Well, right now it's so-so, but hopefully it will take off, and the salary will rise, hopefully.
And any tips for anyone who wants to get into this kind of racing?
Learn soldering.
Soldering?
Soldering, yes. When you start off doing it yourself, you need to learn to solder. Also, simulator helps a lot.
All right, thank you. I'm actually going to take this back. I'm going to do a few more practices before I go home. Maybe you shouldn't watch. You might be a bit unimpressed. Time for this week's Games Review. No drones, I'm afraid, but we do have plenty of adventure. Here's Holly.
In Titanfall 2, Respawn have decided to give their fast-paced, action-filled, agile first-person shooter a campaign mode. So while there's still the online multiplayer that the first one was known for, it's a lot of fun. It's really different as well. First-person shooters can feel a little bit repetitive sometimes. It's a bit of a saturated market. But the combination of being able to run around very fast-paced, double-jump, run off walls when you're not in the mech, and then when you get into your giant robot, you're suddenly this huge powered thing that can fire bullets back and shoot rockets. What they've managed to do by actually making it fun to be both in and out of the mech is very clever, and the first-person campaign is very, very good. It's one of the most innovative I have played in a long time. So if you are interested in a first-person shooter, something a bit different, and you like, fast-paced action, jumping off walls, then you'll love Titanfall 2.
Trust me.
After almost a decade in production, D-Pad Studios' Owlboy is well worth the wait. Not only will you be drawn in by the beautiful art style and the music, the entire thing is just absolutely gorgeous, but it's the characters, the writing, the animations that they have that just draw you in, and the story as well, which is something that I wasn't expecting, is really compelling. Now, the actual gameplay itself is a combination of platforming, puzzle, a bit of twin-stick shooter. It's incredibly well polished. The art direction itself is something the studio refers to as high bid, so that's very detailed pixel art. And, you just need to look at the screens to realise how lovely it is. But the whole package together is absolutely wonderful, and I think it may be one of my personal Game of the Years. The Bethesda have given their enormously successful game Skyrim a bit of a facelift, and I'm sure a lot of fans will be very glad to hear that. Now, there are a couple of really interesting things that Skyrim Special Edition now have. So you get all the DLC with it, all the downloadable content. You also get access to player-built modifications on if you play on console, which before only PC players could get. Now that's really interesting because there is a huge modding scene, as it's called, around this game. So that is obviously a huge selling point. The textures and things have been given a tweak. It all looks lovely. But it does look lovely when it's static. There is, the character models and the animations do sometimes make it look a little bit dated, but when you're walking around that absolutely gorgeous world, then it's impossible to get lost. Now, I think if you played on PC and you were very active with your mods, you liked making everything look prettier and really tweaking it, then I'm not sure how much there will be for you in this new edition. However, if you're a console player and you're interested in modding, or you just want to get lost again in that world, then this is definitely something to look out for.
Well, that's it for this week. But if you enjoyed watching Swipe, you can watch any of our episodes on our YouTube playlist. Just type in Sky News Swipe. And if you like staying up to date with all the latest tech news, take a look at the technology section on the Sky News website. We'll be back next week. Hope you can join us then. Bye-bye.